Why do I have to be stuck inside this lava lamp? Hey, don't complain, sweetie. It's been tradition that genies are to be coming out of confined spaces, like bottles or lamps, I know, but why a lava lamp? Hey, don't diss the lava lamp. Someday, they'll be quite a fashion sense. Ugh, more like a fad that'll never last. Why can't I just go into one of those old oil lamps that genies usually pop out of? Sweetie, please. Who uses oil lamps anymore? Besides, that's a common stereotype of a genie's look. Let's not argue about this, alright? Do you want to make good with being a genie, or don't you? Ugh, yes, I want to make good as a genie, just like you. That's perfect, wonderful. Now remember, there are a lot of selfish people out in the world who'd find lamps such as these. Just remember they settle things in 3 wishes. First wish, they'll usually ask for food. Second wish, they'll wish to become more powerful than the world. Then, when they bring ruin upon themselves, they'll blame the genie and wish that they'd never meet us in the first place. That's the way it happens with genies. That's the way it is. That's not even fair, Dad. Why can't I just enjoy the time out of the lamp? And how do you know people will be selfish? Oh, trust me, Trixie, sweetie. You'll know them soon enough. Besides, it's our jobs as genies to not get attached to the people who released you from the lamp. They're selfish, they always will be. Understand? Fine. And thus, a young genie stayed in that lava lamp for what felt like decades, always following the rules of her father, as she went from master to master who happens to find the lava lamp she gets trapped in, and the more people that passed over her, the more she had the feeling that her dad, Norm, may have been right about these humans. They were pretty much scumbags who pretty much did exactly what her dad said they'd do, no matter how many times the young girl genie tried to ease them in on the wish. And then, the trading itself eventually stopped, as the lava lamp found itself in the hands of someone who'd never rubbed the lamp. As a matter of fact, the lamp had settled itself down, collecting dust, as Trixie felt a little lonely, wanting to talk to someone, anyone. She tried to catch attention by whispering over to some passers-by or friends of the person who had her lava lamp, but alas, it was no good, because nobody either listened or Mr. Birkenbeck assumed there was a leaky pipe in his van. Either way, it felt quite lonely in that lamp, as she just floated around in there. Despite the rumors of itty-bitty living space, she could actually poop herself small to fit inside the lava lamp, and she had managed to catch herself up to the 21st century via some satellite news channels that she personally hooked up herself with her magic. After all, outside the lamp, genies are bound by wishes to humans, but they can still do occasional magic for themselves. Still, it was getting to be quite lonely until one day, when Mr. Birkenbeck decided to hold a not garage sale, as she heard the man say. And her lava lamp happened to be one for sale. She hoped somebody could come and maybe rub the lamp. She didn't even care if the person was selfish, just that she wanted to stretch her genie legs again. She peeked out from the lamp and noticed a young boy looking around the not garage sale, seemingly interested in some of the stuff that was laid around. She raised an eyebrow, before smiling. He looks cute. She then shook her head. Don't get attached. Don't get attached. It was at this moment she decided to try her luck. Hey, Buddy, Trixie whispered from her lava lamp. The young boy stopped short, much to Trixie's surprise. Her eyes lit up. He actually heard her. He looked over towards some green and pink butterflies in confusion, seemingly asking something to the butterflies. One of the butterflies seemed to be talking. Over here, Trixie whispered, as the boy blinked, looking back towards Mr. Birkenbeck, who was still settling stuff down. No, not him. Turn your head upright and look over here. It was then the young kid finally looked over towards the lava lamp and approached it in interest. Trixie nodded. That's right. Lava lamp. Rub me and you'll get a great surprise outside the lava lamp. The young Timmy Turner blinked twice before turning to his fairies. What do you think, guys? I don't know about this. Timmy wanted to pause. There's something odd about the lamp. I mean, how often do you hear lava lamps talk? Nevertheless, I should follow the instructions. Someone seems to want out of the lamp, and I'm going to find out who. Timmy said, as he picked up the lava lamp, as he blew the dust off and started to rub it. The lava lamp started to shake. As it started to lift itself up in the air, the sound of a gong was heard, as the lamp contorted itself, before spewing out some purple smoke, before something floated in front of the boy and the two butterflies. It was a black-haired female genie, with a purple headband, a purple tank top and white tail-like structure, with red tassels on her shoulders and a red belt surrounding the white waist. The girl stretched a bit, as she smiled. Oh, it feels so good to stretch all this out. Timmy's eyes lit up, as the butterflies quickly turned back into fairies. Hey, you're a genie, aren't you? A rather cute genie girl, from the looks of things. Trixie, hearing this, giggled a little. You flatter me, really. Anyway, my name is Trixie, the genie of this lava lamp. Yes, I cast magic, and yes, I'm willing to serve your desires, so let me cut to the chase. Since you freed me from the lamp, you get 3 wishes. Timmy, Cosmo and Wanda looked at each other, as they couldn't help but snicker at this. Trixie was about to explain more, when she noticed the snickering up. I'm sorry, what's so funny? Sorry, Trixie, right? Timmy said, as he looked over to the cute girl genie in front of him. Look, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to have freed you, but I really don't need the genie right now. Trixie looked appalled by this. Why not? It was at this moment the butterflies poofed as Cosmo and Wanda, in their regular fairy forms, floated in front of her, because he has fairy godparents that grant him his every wish. Wanda explained, as she and Cosmo stared at each other lovingly, before they realized that Cosmo's hair got stuck in Wanda's curls. This world is dangerous, Cosmo screamed, as he tried to move his hair out of Wanda's. Trixie looked rather surprised at the floating fairies, before feeling a bit guilty. Oh, I see. Fairies that grant you every wish you want. I guess I wasted my time, then. Back to the lamp, I guess, where I'll spend another lonely few years, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands, who knows? Timmy noted the genie girl's sad look on her face, as he paused, feeling a bit bad. Wait a minute, don't be like that. Just because I have fairies, that doesn't mean that you should go back to the lava lamp, really? Trixie asked, as she looked over to Timmy. Yet, from the look on your face, you look like you haven't spoken to anybody in years, Timmy said. Look, I may have unlimited wishes, but that doesn't mean that I should just plain ignore you, right? Trixie looked over to Timmy's kind face, her heart beating pretty fast. Wow, I've never seen anyone as selfless as you are. That's Timmy. A little bullheaded, but always knows to do the right thing in the end. Cosmo pointed out. That's true. He can be a little bull-headed, Wanda snickered, causing some dark glares from Timmy. It's just, well, my dad always said that whenever someone takes the lava lamp and meets a genie in there, they always turn pretty selfish. I'm assuming you all heard of genies, right? Trixie asked Timmy, and Cosmo nodded. As Wanda said, we know genies can be very tricky when it comes to wishes, yet the whole you have to word your wish thing. Trixie nodded. No, I get it. She looked over towards the three as she gave a giggle. On the other hand, I can see you, Timmy, right? The boy nodded as she continued, that you have a dying loyalty to your fairies. Call it a genie instinct, but it's almost like you treat each other like family. Heh, she's got our number, Wanda. Cosmo chuckled as Wanda gave a nod. Yet Cosmo and Wanda are wonderful. I'd never give them up for any reason, Timmy said with a small smile. Trixie smiled. I never thought I'd meet someone as kind or considerate as you are. The young genie girl paused as she started to think up. Is anybody watching? Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda paused as they looked around before shaking their heads. Let me tell you something, Trixie said as she leaned closer to the boy and his fairies as they peered their ears. Let me live with you. Timmy jumped up as Wanda and Cosmo looked surprised, Wanda saying, I'm sorry. Whoa, Cosmo waved his arms in shock. Let me explain. Trixie held out her hands. I would never want to get in the way of your bonds. But with me around, I want to learn more about you guys, maybe learn some magic of my own, and if you guys can make unlimited wishes, well, then maybe I want to make that too. After all, 3 wishes is pretty limited. Even for me. Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda looked at each other as they raised eyebrows. Could you give us a couple minutes, Trixie? Of course. Trixie nodded as the 3 started to step over to the side as they huddled around each other. So, what do you guys think? The boy in the pink hat asked as he looked up towards his fairy's ear. I don't know. I'm kind of still in the shock that a genie would willingly want to live with us, Cosmo said, especially after what Georgian had taught us in fairy school about genies. Wanda said, are genies evil? Timmy asked, not all of them. There are the occasional benevolent fun genies that want to give you a good time, but that's about it. Seems to me that Trixie here is on the scale of wanting to have fun. Wanda note that she also said her father told her that every person who rubs a lamp is always selfish. Seems to be she hates being in her father's footsteps, Timmy noted, but if we take her to Georgian and explain her presence. Cosmo and Wanda looked thoughtful before giving a nod, before turning to Timmy, Wanda saying, it's up to you, Timmy. Whatever you think. Timmy paused as he looked towards Trixie, who was patiently sitting and giving a small sigh. Of course, Trixie looked up as she made eye contact with Timmy, causing the girl to give a giggle and wave at him. Timmy could swear he could feel his heart melting. That'll be $2. Timmy smiled as he pulled out a couple bucks and handed it to Mr. Birkenbake, who pocketed the money before picking up the lava lamp. Thanks, Mr. Birkenbake. I think I might have a good use for this. Oh, I'm sure you do, little dude, Birkenbake said, as Timmy walked with the lamp in hand. As soon as Timmy walked into the house and upstairs to his room, the fairies and Trixie appeared, as she gave a smile. You, Timmy Turner, are kind, thoughtful, generous. Trixie giggled as she leaned over and planted the firm kiss on the boy's lips. Timmy's eyes widened in surprise as he felt Trixie plant his lips on his, before giving a sigh as she pulled back. Timmy could swear he felt himself floating. Ahem. The 2 jumped as they turned to see Cosmo and Wanda looking at them, raising eyebrows, as Wanda gave a nod. Now that your lamp has been bought, we have to do the next thing and smooth it all over with Georgian. All right. Then let's go to him, Trixie said, as she looked over at the three. Timmy, Cosmo and Wanda nodded, as Timmy held out his hands. Cosmo, Wanda, I wish we were in fairy world. With a nod, both Cosmo and Wanda lifted their wands, as the four of them disappeared from Timmy's room to the world above the sky. So, let me see, if I get this straight, Georgian Von strangled frowned, as he marched around the room, looking sternly at Timmy, Cosmo and Wanda, the middle of which was shaking nervously, as Trixie was looking up at the muscular fairy, looking just as nervous. This genie girl here wants to learn the ways of the fairies? She doesn't seem to be malicious, and she's very sweet, Timmy said, as he grinned. I'll be the judge of that. Turner Georgian eyed Timmy angrily before turning to Trixie. You, genie girl. Posture straight. Trixie obeyed, as she went up near the wall. Georgian walked over, as he examined the girl, as she took a few deep breaths. Genie magic, no doubt, but her personality. Tell me, do you like looking at yourself in the mirror? Only when I want to pretty myself up, Sir, Trixie said in a shy voice. And your family of genies, who are they? Georgian asked. Well, I don't know my mom, but I know my dad. His name is Norm. He's a genie like me, but he's more. Trixie started to say, sarcastic, always full of himself. Has a vendetta against anybody? Georgian asked. That's him. Trixie gave a sigh. She couldn't help but notice Georgian narrowing his eyes at her. Don't get me wrong, I don't exactly follow his footsteps, at least, not entirely. Georgian said silently, as he marched around the room, eyeing Trixie the whole time, as she whittled her thumbs rather nervously. Then, he broke the silence. I'll tell you what, little genie. You desire to help others beyond that lamp, then you will have to work hard for it. I understand. Trixie nodded. I don't want to stay living in that lava lamp for the whole time. Honestly, it gets pretty boring in there. Georgian paused, before nodding. Very well. It may not be quite the normal way, but I'll see if I can squeeze you into a fairy learning course. You already got the magic and you know how to grant wishes. It is only a matter of passing a few tests and you'll be golden. Really? Trixie asked, her eyes lit up. But these tests are not going to be easy. Georgian explained, as he waved his wand over the lava lamp that Timmy is carrying. I'm adjusting your lava lamp rules, so that you can now grant unlimited wishes instead of being bound to 3, as per the genie's contract. Turner? Why, yes. Timmy asked, looking up. As you have found her lamp, she is now your responsibility. As are your puny fairies as well, Georgian said. Cosmo and Wanda looked pretty surprised, as the latter asked, us? Gosh, I don't think we've ever been teachers. Before I didn't think I was a good teacher, Cosmo pointed out before waving his arm, as he was now dressed up in Crocker's outfit. Hey, I think I can fit the part. All I got to do is get the dick that makes me say fairy godparents in a spasm-like movement, and I'm all set to go. Everyone rolled their eyes, as Timmy looked over at Trixie, who was giving a small smile, before a purple book appeared in her hands. She looked it over. The rules. If you want to learn how to be a fairy, then you'll have to obey the rules like a fairy. Read it well. As for once, you'll get yours in due time, Georgian said. Now, be gone with you. All the four characters appeared back in Timmy's room, as Trixie was still looking over the book in amazement, giving a small smile while Cosmo and Wanda looked at each other, as Timmy looked the young genie girl over with a smile. Well, Trixie, now that you're going to be in training as a fairy, I guess you'll be part of us now. It just feels a little surreal, Trixie said, as she held her head. I never would have imagined I'd have to learn fairy magic, most of all from a different source. It's a little hard at first, but don't worry, it just comes naturally. Wanda shrugged, as she gave a smile. But, nevertheless, you are now part of our class, and it is your duty to grant wishes to your godchild. Don't worry, we don't mind sharing responsibilities, even if it is to help you learn the basics, Cosmo said with a comforting smile. Trixie giggled, before she looked over to Timmy. Well, Timmy, looks like I'll be granting your wishes after all. Just hit me with a good one, and I'll be one step closer. Timmy paused, as he thought about it. What can I do for a first wish? Make it a good one, Timmy. Wanda offered. After all, she is our pupil. Cosmo grinned. Timmy looked over to Trixie, as she looked eager to grant his first wish. Timmy thought about it, before giving a smile. You know, I might just have an idea for a first wish. What was Timmy's first wish with Trixie? Will this genie girl ever learn to use fairy magic properly? And do Timmy and Trixie fall in love with each other? All good questions, all that would be answered in another time, in another place, but all that is known was that Timmy was quite happy to have a new addition to his magic family.